Week 8 of the college football season is behind us, so you know what we have to do. It's time to overreact. Let's just start with the game on my screen here where number 2 Miami loses to Louisville in a stunner to start the week here, where undefeated they were, but no longer they are. It's just kind of crazy now to think about the ACC. Because the ACC was kind of controlled by Miami at this point, but now Georgia Tech is the only unbeaten team there and kind of feels like they have the cleanest path to winning the ACC. But now we can't write off Louisville with this huge win. We also can't write off Virginia, even though they almost lost to Washington State this past weekend, and even teams like Pittsburgh that could just play spoiler to all of this by year's end. I feel like there was one other team we were supposed to talk about during this time of the year in the ACC. Can't really remember though. But now we have to jump to the Big 12, where probably another biggest upset of the week is Texas Tech. Number 7 falls to Arizona State in dramatic fashion, ending this kind of Cinderella story we thought Texas Tech might have, even though they only have one loss on the season, so things are still up in the air. Now, yes, no one was going to go undefeated this season, but it just needs to be called out. Arizona State rushing the field after beating Texas Tech when they started the season as the number 11 team in the nation just doesn't really feel right. Like, I get it, have fun, but also act like you've been there, you know? But trying to make sense of the Big 12 is just a losing game, so I'm going to stop trying to predict it because BYU just keeps winning and they're undefeated anyways. So will the Mormons pull it off? Who knows? But now we have to go over to the game of the week in the SEC, where number 9 Georgia takes down number 5 Ole Miss in just a dramatic fashion, back and forth, 43 points for Georgia. And I just feel bad for Ole Miss because, like I said last week, it appeared that they weren't quite ready to be a top 5 team as they almost fall to Washington State. And then they kind of lose this big game where they had every chance to win, but defense just didn't show up at the end. And it kind of was a who has ball last kind of game. Because it doesn't help that Texas A&M goes and beats Arkansas, who's always a tough opponent in the SEC, and it doesn't help that Alabama continues to bounce back and beats a ranked Tennessee team to reconfirm where the top of the SEC is, and Ole Miss is kind of on the outside looking in now. Because there's also this team called Vanderbilt who continues to rewrite the story of what their storyline is going to be this year as they take down a ranked top 10 LSU team for the first time in forever, not just ranked, LSU in general in forever. So it's pretty crazy to say that Vanderbilt's on the way in and Ole Miss and LSU are on the way out looking in, especially with Oklahoma winning, Texas coming back a little bit. One thing I don't want to be in is the SEC right now because it's a bloodbath. I'd really like to go hang out in the Big Ten if I'm a good team because Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State continue their winning ways. USC loses and stumbles again to Notre Dame, so it doesn't really make any sense to put them in the conversation right now. So it's really a 3-team race out in the Big Ten versus a 12-team race in the SEC. I gotta take a deep breath though. There's way too much going into week 9 now, so I gotta hear what your takes are on this.